Okay, hi guys. So a little video this week because I've had some interesting dietary issues and problems this week from various clients, and to be honest, they're kind of recurring themes as well that I seem to see. If I'm honest, brutally honest, not trying to be sexist, but these are generally problems I'll see more often than not with female clients, and if you want my honest opinions, these are the real reasons why my female clients will find it harder than the male clients to get fat loss results. Okay, and a lot of it's to do with perspective and about being totally objective and looking at what's really going on and not, versus we think might be going on. So of course we're talking about calories. So we know if I put my flash up my little pyramid on that bottom level. So the foundation for any good fat loss diet, doesn't matter which way you cut it, is we have to create a calorie deficit. So obviously I would prefer to go for a more sensible calorie deficit, it's around about 250 calories per day, up to a maximum of about 500 if it's going to be a more aggressive fat loss plan, but that would be very short term. So whatever happens, it doesn't matter how you structure anything else above that, macros, micronutrients, supplements, nutrient timing, you have to have that slight calorie deficit. And like I said, I like to aim for about 250 calories per day, because over a week that's going to give you roughly half a kilo, if all goes well, of fat loss. Okay? So the first thing I bring to your attention, obviously because there's two ways I do diets now. One is to track everything via MyFitnessPal or a similar app if you've got your own one. So you can see exactly what you're doing, or you need to follow a very strict diet plan worked out by me, which you'll be able to control your calories without necessarily counting individual calories, but by portion control and by choosing foods that are very low calorie dense and tend to be very high in fibre, so they fill you up. So you are still creating a calorie deficit, you just don't necessarily have to do it by counting all your individual calories. Anyway, I digress. So the most important thing, growing this calorie deficit. So some of the problems I've had are people that are kind of doing like an in-between sort of route. They're not counting the calories, but they want the flexibility of being able to eat shit basically, without counting the calories, and then wondering why they're not getting the fat loss. So I'll give you an example. So there's a few studies that have been done, and I'll put some links below the video and in the newsletter. But one of the best studies I've seen is basically shown that at worst, people can underestimate the amount of calories they ingest by up to 47%, which is an absolute monstrous amount of underestimation. So if I give someone a calorie diet plan of say 15, I know they need to hit 1500 calories and they don't track anything, there is a potential for you to overeat by 700 calories in a single day. So to give you perspective on that, I weigh 95 kilos at the moment, so I'm dropping some weight, but if I wanted to put on muscle, and basically you have to put on muscle you have to go the opposite way, you have to create a calorie surplus, I would probably eat about 250 calories more than I needed a day at most. So there's a potential there. If you're on 1500 calories, if you underestimate by not tracking what you're doing in some way or another and holding yourself accountable, you can overeat by 700 calories per day. So if I know I need to eat 250 calories a day to get bigger and put on more muscle, what do you think is going to happen to someone who isn't training as hard, doesn't want to put on muscle, and they overeat by 700 calories a day? Obviously you're going to gain fat, yeah? I'm not saying that everyone underestimates by 47%. I mean, I think they found the range on average was between 15 all the way up to 47% underestimation. So that's what I like for a lot of people, getting them into the habit of tracking the calories. I know some people think it's a bit sort of big brotherish, but Jesus, it takes the guesswork out. And if you know that there's a potential to underestimate by 15 to 47% of what you eat each day, you can see why it's very easy, even though you think you're eating healthy or whatever else. Jesus, if you're eating by 700 calories a day, you're going to get fat no matter what. It doesn't matter what that food's made up of. 700 calories is still 700 calories over, yeah? So whatever happens, we have to have that calorie deficit, okay? So yeah, if you go over, and the other thing is as well, I've had some people that have kind of crept over on their diet plans, they're maybe only like 100 calories a day, say, which doesn't seem like much, only 100 calories. But what you've got to think of then is how that adds up over the week. So, for example, if you're supposed to be in a calorie deficit 6 days a week and then have a refeed day where you overshoot calories slightly for metabolism, there's a potential that for you there, if you eat 100, to have 600 calories more per week than you need, plus your cheat meal on top. Say that's like 500 calories. You could be shooting by, over your calorie deficit by about 1100. And ideally, I want you to have a calorie deficit per week of about 1250, about 1500 at least. So if you overshoot day to day, plus your cheat meal, and you've only got a deficit of about 100 calories at the end of the week, by the end of it, of course you're not going to lose fat. There's nowhere near enough stimulation. So I guess the most important thing, if you are tracking calories, you must be consistent. You must stay below that number, whatever number that is. Say it's 1500, 1700, 2000, whatever it is. For me, it's 2400 at the moment. I know I can't go over that number at least 6 days a week. I can have one refeed meal, but I cannot continuously go over that. Even if it was only 100 calories per day, I cannot go over it if I want to get the result. Yeah, it doesn't matter which way you slice and dice it, you cannot go over that number. Okay, so be aware of that. If you are going over slightly in calories each day, it adds up over the week. Yeah, and that's what's going to bite you in the ass. That's what's going to blow your result out. Okay, next thing, which came up this week, mention no names, Joanna. Alcohol and calories. Okay, so I don't think most people realise how many calories there are in alcohol. The trouble is, anytime you have liquid calories, especially alcohol, because it is so calorie dense. For example, like a lump of pure fat is 9 calories per gram. A lump of pure sugar or carbohydrate is only 4 calories per gram. Alcohol is 7 calories per gram. Okay, so it's a brutally high calorie dense energy source, and because we get it in liquid form as well, obviously it's not going to fill your stomach up, it's not going to take time to break down, it gets absorbed straight to your stomach, and of course you're not going to get the feedback to know when you've had too many calories in terms of appetite control, because the body's got no way of working out how many calories you've had. It's gone straight to the stomach, straight to the bloodstream, and off it goes. Yeah. So one thing to keep in mind, to give you a bit of a visual, so say you had a single shot of vodka, so that's with no mixer, nothing else in it, just the vodka, so just vodka and ice, so the cleanest of the clean drinks. Each one of those shots is about 100 calories. Okay, so what else do we know is about 100 calories? Obviously I'm filming this in Australia, so I'm going to give the example of a standard issue Tim Tam. This actually works out. Your average Tim Tam, just a plain one, not double chocolate, none of the special ones, just a plain Tim Tam is about 100 calories as well. Okay, so this week we had a client come in, obviously complaining about lack of results and didn't look like she was getting anywhere. Bit wobbly with the diet during the week anyway, which was going to heighten you. But then she went out Friday or Saturday night and basically said that she had up to 12 drinks. I mean, there was other stuff in there, but there were 8 vodkas. So we'll give a conservative estimate as if she just had 12, the cleanest of the clean vodkas with ice, with no mixer, with nothing. That's an extra 1,200 calories in one night. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know any diet plan in the world, or anybody in the world who can eat 12 Tim Tams in a night. That's more than what you only get 9 in a whole pack. So it's basically a pack and a half almost of Tim Tams in a night and still be able to lose weight. Unless you may be able to do it if you didn't eat all day and then just had that, but I definitely wouldn't recommend that because that's really not going to be healthy for you. So just think when you go out, when you're drinking your alcohol or whatever, just be conscious of how many calories are in there. You wouldn't go out on a Friday night and eat 8, 9, 10 chocolate bars a night and expect to be lean. It just isn't going to happen. Yeah. So bear in mind when you have alcohol how calorie dense it is. Okay, so there is a little bit of leeway. My leeway is that if you're tracking your calories, you can have up to 4. That's 4 alcoholic drinks, and kind of make that calorie deficit that way, because you've still got most of your food in for the rest of the day. It's not going to blow you out too much. But obviously, you can't be going out and having 12 drinks, 1,200 calories in one night, and expecting to get lean. It is not going to happen. Okay, I don't know anyone that can do that. So yeah, basic perspective. So you've got to look at it, be objective as possible. Doesn't matter what happens, doesn't matter what magical diet you think you're on, or magical supplements you think you're taking. End of the day, it's checks and balances, as boring as that sounds, and as frustrating as that can be. If you go over any calories, does not matter, especially if it's consistent, you will put on weight. If you hit the right numbers consistently, then you will lose weight and you will lose fat. And there's no two ways about it, unfortunately. So if you know you're not getting the result you want, either you stagnate it out or you start to put on weight, you're going over on your calories somewhere. So my number one tip would be to start using something like MyFitnessPal. Track your calories, because you can see exactly what you're doing and you can hold yourself accountable. If you don't want to do that, you don't want a stricter diet plan, like the stuff that I do for precision nutrition, for example, you've got to stick to it 100%. You can't do that and throw in chocolates and alcohol on top, because that will blow you out of the water as well, okay? But whatever way, hold yourself accountable. There's a couple of ways you can do it. Obviously, MyFitnessPal is the best, because you know exactly what's going on. Or you could take photos of all your meals, basically anything that you eat. You just take a picture of it on your phone and review each day, and you just have some feedback. Or you can keep a diet diary. But at the end of the day, this is what it boils down to. If you put on weight where you're not getting the result that you want, you have gone over on your calories. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter how you slice it, dice it, whatever. Joe asked me like a couple of weeks ago, he said, "Oh, why have you changed your approach?" Because he used to make this big thing about not counting calories and get the quality of food and stuff. Probably because I was going from my perspective of, you can portion control yourself to an extent with healthier foods if you train harder and kind of lose weight that way. But what I found is that most people are just absolutely piss poor at portion control, and then they throw in extras all the time on top, like extra chocolates and coffees with cream in them and sugar and whatever else. And before you know it, they've blown themselves up the water and not getting a result, and then they're getting frustrated because they don't know why. As simple as this, we all know why. Whatever goes on, if you eat more calories than you can burn off, you will put on fat. If you hit the right numbers, and you create a slight calorie deficit, you don't have to starve yourself, but just a slight calorie deficit, you will lose fat. As simple as that. So if you're not getting a result, or you're going backwards, you're eating too many calories, or you're not training hard enough. As simple as that. Okay? So stick within those limits. Bear in mind when you go out and you have your next drink, try and figure you're drinking Tim Tams. But it sounds stupid, but it gives you a good idea, because it's very hard sometimes to realise how many calories there are in alcoholic drinks, so be careful of that. And also just be aware as well, if you're flying by the seat of your pants in terms of what you're eating and kind of guesstimating stuff, be aware that you could be underestimating what you're eating by 15 to 47%. So bear that in mind, okay?